This video is for M6 Paper 2, June 2023. So for question 1, it says a wall is being tiled. The wall measures 200 centimeters by 80 centimeters. The tiles are square of side length 20 centimeters. Calculate the number of tiles needed. So as the tiles are a square of side length 20 centimeters, sometimes it's easier to get a visual representation of it by just drawing a little square with 20 and 20 on for length and width. The next part of it is you figure out how many tiles would go up on the side of this wall. You can see there could be 4 lots of 20, which is 80 centimeters. So 4 lots could go up the side of this wall. And then you figure out how many tiles would go across 200 centimeters. So you know that how many 20 centimeters would fit along this wall. And we see that 10 tiles would fit along. And all you do from this point on is just multiply 4 by 10, or 4 times 10 is 40 tiles. So 40 tiles in total would be needed. So question 2, an airline allows each passenger to carry a bag on board its planes. The maximum dimensions of bags allowed on board are shown. So it's got 56 centimeters, 45 and 25. Now there's a conversion here which I've circled, which is 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So that's important. So Torin has a bag with dimensions 22 by 17 by 9 inches. Will he be allowed to carry his bag on board? Show all your working. So you would have to convert into centimeters and then compare. So the way you would do this is, for the first one is 22 multiplied by 2.54. So if you see the difference is inches here and centimeters there. Normally if they're different like that, you just times them together. So that would be 22 times 2.54, which is 55.88 centimeters. And you can see that this one is 56, so that's okay. So question, this one here is 17 times 2.54. And that's your 17 inches times 2.54, which is 43.18. And you can see it's 45 across here. So that's a good, that's tick. Then 9.9 times 2.54. And we get 22.86 centimeters. And we can see that's 25. So we're under that as well. So overall, this bag that she has can be allowed. So yes. Question 3. It says, here is a scale drawing of a small car and a stretch limo. The small car is 12 feet long. Work out the length of the stretch limo. So we get a ruler and we measure the small car and then we measure the length of the stretch limo. The small car we find is going to be 3 centimeters and the stretch limo is 10.5 centimeters. So next we look for the scale factor between those. So we do 10.5 divided by 3, which is 3.5. So that means the scale factor is 3.5. That means the stretch limo is 3.5 times bigger than the small car, and vice versa. So that the small car would be 3.5 times smaller than the stretch limo. So the question says, work out the length of the stretch limo. So we've done 12 feet times 3.5, which is 42 feet. So if the small car is 12 feet long, we times it by 3.5 and it's 42. So 42 feet is the size of the stretch limo. Question 4, a meal deal consists of a main and a snack. So we have the mains here and the snacks on this column. So write down all the possible combinations of a meal deal. So it's basically sandwich and fruit, sandwich and cheese, sandwich and yogurt. So we're trying to do it logically the way we go through it. So the next one would be wrap and fruit, wrap and cheese, wrap and yogurt. And the next one would be bagel and fruit, bagel and cheese, bagel and yogurt. And that's all the possible combinations that you could get for this. So question 5, it says a game costs €22.99. The exchange rate was £1 equals €1.10. What is the cost in pounds? So we've got €22.99 and we've got €1.10. So for the same units or same currency, on this one we just divide for that to get it into pounds. So we do 22.99 divided by 1.10 or 1.1, and that would be £20.90. So the final answer is £20.90. So for question 6, it says Albert wants to buy a gold chain. Gold chains are priced by the length of the chain. An 18-inch chain costs £264. What will Albert have to pay for a 21-inch chain? So we can see that 18 inches would equal £264. Next I've done is 3 inches. So I've divided that by 6, and that gave us £44 for 3 inches of chain. And then we work out what 21 inches of chain is. I've multiplied that by 7. So we do that to the other side. So 44 times 7 is £308. So the final answer there is £308. So question 7 says Ellie and Tanisha are working out the sum of angles in polygons. Ellie decides to split the hexagon below into triangles. Show how this can be done. So these lines weren't there in the original question, and we know that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for 6 sides, there's always 4 triangles. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you always start at a point here and just draw those triangles there. 4 triangles is going to be in it. It says, what is the sum of angles in the hexagon? So we've got like 4 triangles is, we just times it with 4 times 180. Now that's because 180 is the total sum of angles in a triangle. So there's 4 lots of them, which is 720 degrees. Now that's the same, any triangle, any sort of polygon you have, like a 12-sided polygon would have 10 triangles, just keep taking away 2. So if you have an 8-sided polygon, an octagon, then it would be 6 triangles you would have in it. So this one's a bit different. So Tanisha splits the decagon below into quadrilaterals as shown. What is the sum of angles in the decagon? Now we know that in a quadrilateral, if we add all the angles up, it would be 360. And when they've split them up there, it's been split into 4 quadrilaterals. So all we're doing here for this one is 4 times 360, which is 1,440. Question 8a, reflect the triangle in the x-axis. So x-axis here acts as a mirror line. So you always start with the mirror line in a reflection. So if we start with, take each point in turn, so we start at the -2 on the x-axis and count up 1 for this point, and it should be 1 on the other side. And draw your point. This one's the same, 1 and 1. Draw your point. And this one would be 1, 2, 3 to this point here, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 to that point, and then join your dots. So for question B, it says a rectangle of length 5 centimeters and width 8 centimeters enlarged by a scale factor of 4. So for a scale factor of 4, you're just timesing everything by 4. What are the dimensions of the large shape? So we take the length of 5 centimeters and we multiply that by 4. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 8 centimeters we multiply by 4, which is 32. So for question 9, it says a breakfast cereal is sold in 3 different sizes, 500, 750, 1 kilogram. Write the ratio of the weights of the boxes in its simplest form. So we start off with the ratio as it is, so 500, 750 and 1000. We can divide that by 10 each one, so 50, 75 and 100, and then divide by 25 to all of them, which then becomes 2, 3 and 4. So that would be your ratio simplified. So it says a new size of box will be made. It will have 20% more cereal than the 500 gram box. It will cost £1.56, which is 20p more than the 500 gram box. Will the customer who normally buys the 500 gram box get a better or worse deal in buying this new size of box? So the first part is basically you get 20% of 500. 20 over 100 times 500, and we get 100 as the answer. Now it says it's increased by 20%, so we take this 100 grams and we add it to 500, which is 600 grams. So that's your new box. So the next thing is we want to find if it's better value or not. So what I'm going to do is just equate everything to 100 grams. So we can see this one here is 600 gram box is 156. So we can divide it by 6 to get 100 grams. So a 100 gram box is 156 divided by 6, which is 26 pence. Then we can look at the 500 gram box. We can divide that by 5 in both sides. So basically 500 divided by 5 is 100, 136 divided by 5 is 27.2 pence. You can compare that 26 pence is the cheapest, so they will get a better deal if it's a 600 gram box.